Hi, welcome to Coffee with Claire. Life is an adventure to be experienced, and done so intentionally. When you take responsibility for your personal growth, you put yourself on the path to fulfilling your life's purpose. Being intentional in your life also opens you up to conversation and to learning. It helps you build a network of friends and business contacts, and also builds your self-confidence. You have to lead yourself before you can become a leader. Tune in to hear how to live life intentionally and fully. Hi, and welcome to Coffee with Claire. Our guest today is Nancy Canada, a principal consultant with New Paradigm Advisors and an executive director with the John Maxwell Team. As a former human resources leader, she was responsible for finding, evaluating, and integrating talent into organizations. Nancy knows people, processes, and success. Welcome, Nancy.
Thank you, Claire. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you here. You are here intentionally.
Yes, I am.
For a reason.
Absolutely.
And I love that idea of living intentionally. And I think that a lot of people just kind of live in this kind of void. You know, they get up, they're in the habit of just doing the same thing all the time. They don't think about it. It's almost like a reflex.
Right.
And when you live your life like that, it probably ends up a little bit differently than if you had something that you were really intending to do.
Correct.
So can you educate our audience a little bit about that paradigm as far as what living intentionally really does mean?
Well, have you ever had a day, at the end of the day, you say, the day got away from me?
Oh, yeah.
That is not living intentionally.
Oh.
Intentionally is
Whoops.
having every day, moving yourself forward to whatever your purpose is, whatever your goal is, and to make sure that even if you're intentionally goofing off, you intentionally, they didn't get away from you, you meant to goof off. You were intentional about even just taking a day off to lay on the sofa and watch football. That's intentional also. So it's not go, 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 go. It's knowing what I'm going to do today and sticking to your plan for the day, no matter what it is.
So it sounds like that there's a lot of planning that goes into intentionality. Is that kind of part of the deal, or?
Part of it. Once you know what your purpose is, what your passion is, it guides you to how to be intentional for that. And you know where you want to be. And it's not exactly goal setting, but it's knowing where are you headed? Where are you growing to? And what are those little steps that are going to get you there? So
you've talked a little bit about personal growth as we are relating to intentionality. So kind of bridge that for us.
Well, you need to keep growing. You can't stay the same. And part of that is you have to be intentional about it. It's not going to happen just by accident. You have to have a plan for growing. And it's going to be different for everybody because everybody has a different purpose, a different direction they want to grow in.
Right.
But it's being intentional about, I want to learn something new. I want to become an expert at something. Just keep moving forward, keep becoming more interesting.
Oh, is that part of it? You have to be interested. That's a lot of pressure now.
You will become interesting as you grow.
Oh, okay, yes. So intentionality and growth means interesting. Right. Well, I guess that kind of makes sense because, if you're doing the same thing all the time, you really aren't, expanding anything.
Right.
And so without expansion, you're really, kind of mundane. So I guess mundane is the opposite of interesting.
I think it is.
That's
okay. A good point.
Oh, ding, ding, ding. A little light bulb goes off. Can you see it?
Yes.
So you are a John Maxwell Team member. That sounds kind of important.
It is a fabulous opportunity. There's over 20,000 of us
all
around the world in over 100 countries.
Okay.
And it just means that we have learned the Maxwell method of speaking, coaching, training.
Ooh.
It's a fabulous training opportunity. It's John's method of doing each of those things. And he teaches his team. We meet twice a year annually in Orlando.
Okay.
And John is there, and he's teaching about what it means to be intentional. It's one of his favorite words, too. And it just brings so much value to me to learn from him, because he's been writing books for decades, speaking for decades, and mentoring and coaching. So he has a lot of wisdom.
So you are like, you're authorized to be able to teach the way he teaches to your audiences? Is that how that
Yes.
works? Okay.
There's certain content that John has released to us
Okay.
and developed for us to use, and we have the right to go out and train with those pieces and do mastermind groups on his books or do workshops with his material. And there's also a leadership game that's actually a game.
Oh, that
but
sounds fun.
It is fun, and it's all about leadership, and it's based on all of John's leadership books.
So with the leadership game, would you bring a group of leaders together and they would play the game together?
It can be team building for a team, 6 to 12 people, and you
that
gather
sounds
around
fun.
a table, and it is actually played as a game. There is a winner of the game.
Oh, so there's a little competitive in there.
Yes, a little
Okay.
bit, yes. And it can be just a team. It can be the leadership of a company, just a group of people. I have actually facilitated with a group that didn't even know each other before the game. And at the end of the game, we all knew each other better and had a better respect for where each person was coming from.
And is that part of the intention of the game, is for them to come out knowing each other better or knowing themselves better, or?
It's a little of both.
Okay.
It is making you think about the value you bring, and then
Ooh, that's really good. Yeah.
and then you're learning about what the value other people are bringing to the team or to the company, and you learn how to work with their strengths, what they're bringing, and how to have the right person in the right seat, because they're working towards their purpose, their strengths.
I love that, because,
That's
you know,
awesome.
you're setting everyone up for success.
Exactly.
You know, and when you're in the right place and everyone else understands how to communicate with you and they take the responsibility to communicate with you in the way that you respond the best, then, you know, you iron out all of those wrinkles before they even really, you know, mess up the bed.
Right. I love that.
So, you know, I love the idea, because, you know, there's so many people that are really talented and they know their stuff, but they get stuck in the square peg in the round hole or whatever, and it doesn't fit right, you know, and they're always kind of uncomfortable, and you sense that, others sense that, and if they're trying to lead people when they're feeling uncomfortable, then that energy permeates throughout the entire organization, I would
So
imagine.
true. That is so true, Claire.
Yeah, so you guys, that's great. I love what you guys are doing. Well, I understand that there's 15 invaluable laws of growth.
Yes, there are.
So how did those 15 apply to the personal growth that we're talking about?
Well, it's a book that was written by John, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. The
Oh,
number
okay.
one law is intentionality.
Okay.
There's 15 of them. They are all awesome. They're all learnable. They're all doable.
Well, that's good.
Yes. One of the ones that I really love is the law of environment. And you have to
Oh.
be in the environment for growth, which means you need to be around growing people. But also, you need to be in a place where you recognize that you are a valuable person to grow, that you have the value, that you can become more. And so, also, you don't want to be the smartest person in the room, because you can't learn if you're the smartest one there.
That's true.
So, you want to find a group that you can learn from. So just getting in an environment that encourages you to grow, rewards you for growing, and you have examples and mentors.
Yeah, it's like the tennis player that always plays the people that are, you know, a little higher up in the league than
Yes.
them. You know,
Yes.
it lets them hone their skills, and then those coaches see things that his coach won't see or her coach won't
That's
see,
exactly
and
right.
so, you know, that all that feedback together, if you're open to it.
That's another good point, Claire. Yes, you have to be teachable.
Yeah.
You have to want to change.
And a lot of people don't want to change. You know,
It's
it's like,
not
what's
easy.
wrong with me? I'm fine the way I am.
Yeah.
I'm fabulous.
I know. I totally agree. But it's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable because you're getting out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
But life begins outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and a lot of people just get so happy with that comfort that, you know, they don't really realize that if they change just a little bit,
Yeah.
how much better things would be, how much better a relationship with their spouse might be, or how much
True.
better a relationship at work might be. And I do imagine that when folks are learning these things in a work environment, they can directly apply to their personal lives.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. Because you're the
all
same person.
applies. You are the same person.
No matter where you are, there you go.
Right. And if you're growing professionally, you're more interesting personally also. And
Yeah.
You're more open to networking with other people because you feel like you have something to share with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that value part is really big.
Yes, it is.
So, in the intro, we talked about you have to be able to lead yourself before you can lead others.
Right.
So, what does that mean to our viewers?
Well, if you can't get yourself up out of bed and you're always late to work, you're not going to be able to lead an employee to be on time, to be punctual. If you are always passing off the hard thing to someone else because you don't like to do the hard things, people pick up on that and they don't have a lot of respect. They only respond to you because of authority, not because you're a leader. So first you have to learn to lead yourself, and that's the hardest person to lead.
Yeah.
And it's a day-by-day small steps of those small wins of, I did what I said I was going to do. Good for me. And just start with those small steps, learning to discipline yourself.
So it's really showing what good looks like.
Yes.
And demonstrating every day that you do that walk the walk and talk the talk kind of thing.
Absolutely right.
And once people see that you're willing to do everything you're asking them to do, they are willing to step to the plate and maybe even do it when they haven't been asked.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So
That's
it's
exactly
really
it.
it's really all about there's a big difference between leadership and management.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
and-
managers manage with what they have. Leaders are looking for new solutions, new opportunities.
Ooh, okay. So leaders are seekers too.
Absolutely right.
Okay, seekers of
Yes.
information, seekers of knowledge, seekers of new ways of doing things. Ooh, that makes me tingly. I like that. Well, you've mentioned when we were talking before that many companies hit a ceiling and then they just stop growing. And we see that all the time in organizations.
Yes.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs, small business owners that view and listen to the podcast of Coffee with Claire. How can our business owners have this not happen to them?
Well, you have to keep growing, and you have to keep your employees growing. And there's another law of John's. It's in the 21 Laws of Leadership, and it's the law of the lid.
The law of the
The
lid.
law of the lid.
Okay.
And whatever your level of leadership is, you can't lead anyone higher than that. They won't follow you. So you need to raise your leadership lid so that you can raise the leadership of those who are on your team. And so
Okay.
you have to keep growing and then encouraging and providing opportunities for your employees, your staff, your team to keep growing also.
And so by doing that, that's going to allow everyone to grow.
Yes.
And okay, that lid is a really important factor for the business owners to be aware of. Okay.
Yes.
So there's 15 laws, and then there's 21 more laws.
Yes.
Man, you got to learn a lot of stuff to be a John Maxwell trainer.
Yes, and then there's 17 laws of teamwork. So yes, he believes in
Ooh,
laws.
Okay, we've got some pillars of conversation here. Well, it sounds to me that you guys have got a lot of different ways you explain things, and one of the terms I've heard is seeds of greatness.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I believe every person has seeds of greatness in them.
Ooh,
Every person does.
okay. I can
Yes.
feel mine right here.
And it's our responsibility to water them, to nurture them, to make them grow. And that's what growth does, personal growth. And those seeds of greatness, if you're like, what would those be? It's what your passion is. And we all have something that we're passionate about.
Yes.
And sometimes we don't do anything with it. But those seeds of greatness are just sitting there waiting for you to nurture them, and they will start growing, and you will move into your purpose. And this world needs people living their purpose.
Absolutely.
And so that's why it's so important to figure out what you're passionate about and then water those seeds of greatness in every person. Everyone has them. There's no exception.
And I think that, going back to that value thing that you talked about earlier, if people are awakened to their value, then that's probably where the seeds start to germinate,
Yes.
right? And maybe not all of them grow at the same time. Maybe you have, a little flower over here, and then you have a grass of,
Right.
blade of grass over here, and then some wheat coming up the middle. But, because I'm sure all the seeds look different too as they germinate and grow.
Right.
What a nice surprise for people,
Yes.
But then is it really a surprise if they're living intentionally?
Not at all.
Isn't that interesting?
It's very interesting how that works.
I love that. So you start every day with 5. So you've got a lot of numbers going on here, but
yes.
you start with a list of 5 things that you need to do each day, right? So what are your 5 things, and how should I create my 5 things?
Well, my 5 things have changed. I started out in pencil.
Okay.
Because I wrote down 5 things that I wanted to do each day, and they don't have to be done first thing in the day.
Okay.
But sometime during the day, these are the 5 things, and I've changed them as that's not working for me, or I love this, I want to go in this direction. But my first one is every day I spend time with God.
Okay.
My faith is very important, so that's something I do every day. The other thing is every day I read from a good book.
Okay.
A business book or whatever area that I'm passionate about or that I want to grow in. And you don't have to read the whole book. Some people...
That's probably a good thing when
Yes.
sitting. That's kind of tough.
Some people don't enjoy reading. I've always loved to read. But if you just read a couple of pages a day, you will get to where reading doesn't annoy you anymore. It may not be your favorite thing, but you'll be able to do that. So reading from a good book, and John Maxwell has 100 books. So there's always one out there that's going to meet what you're looking for at the time. So always some good book. And then adding value every day to someone. And that can be as simple as when I go through the grocery store line, when the person hands me my tape of my receipt, when they hand it, I look at them for 2 seconds in the eye and I smile and I say thank you.
Well, that's powerful.
Because they feel like I saw them as a person.
Yeah.
So it can be as simple as that. It can be calling someone that you know is struggling and just giving them an encouraging word. But some way every day adding value to someone to help them realize that they matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give them their value.
Yes. And another one of mine, because I am a speaker and a trainer, I need illustrations to make my points. So every day I write down any stories, even if they seem small or inconsequential. You never know when that's a good illustration to help make a point, to help people grasp what you're trying to share. So I write those down. Even if it's a boring day, something happens every day.
Sure.
Even if it's traffic, something. And then the 5th one is organize something that day, whether it's organizing what I've written down so that it can be found later when I want to use it for an illustration, organizing anything, even organizing my car. Just organizing something organizes my brain.
So those 5 things are what you do sometime during each day.
Yes.
And do you always check them all off?
When I first started doing that, I would have them all and do a check. Now I just know. They just,
Oh, I haven't done that one yet.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to go organize something real quick.
Right, right.
Where's my socks?
There's always something that needs organizing, isn't there?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you come to my house, you'll see. Well, I am about having fun, and I know that you like to tell stories. So tell me a story or 2, if you have time, about having fun, and let's, kind of maybe wrapping into the topic of intentionality and opportunity. So since you write down all the stories, maybe you have one off the top of your head?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Several years ago, it was my birthday, and I had been making noise about I'd never ridden the McKinney Avenue trolley, and I wanted to ride the trolley, but I've never ridden the trolley. I want to ride the trolley.
Okay.
So it was my birthday, and so my friends surprised me and said, guess what we're going to do? We're going to go ride the trolley. And it was a Sunday, and it was early in the morning, about 11 o'clock actually. And we get on the trolley. There's no one on. We caught it at the very end of the line.
Okay.
There's no one on the trolley. And, of course, you know how friends are. They have to tell everybody when it's your birthday. Oh, it's our birthday. Oh. So they told the gentleman driving the trolley, it's our birthday. And he said, that's wonderful. Happy birthday. And then there's no one else on the trolley. He goes, would you like to drive the trolley? And I said, yes, I would, because it's an opportunity to do something I've never done before.
Yeah.
And it would be fun. So he showed me, I sat down, he showed me how, now there's no one else on there.
Yeah.
And we were way away from traffic, so I couldn't have hurt anybody.
Don't you have to kind of go on a
You're on the
track?
tracks, yes. Yes.
It's kind
He
of
showed me the brake.
driving the car at Six Flags,
Exactly,
And you're flying.
exactly.
Yeah, I'm driving a car.
So I got to drive the trolley. My favorite part was ringing the bell.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Loved ringing the bell, but that was awesome.
That was a great demonstration of yes and, which is one of the biggest things of improv, which is, of course, one of my passions as well. So, yeah, you said yes and, yes, I'd like to get up in front. Yes, I'd like to drive. And then, bonus, got to ring the bell.
Got to ring the bell.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
So that's part of being intentionally accepting opportunities that just show up out of nowhere. Make up your
Yeah.
mind ahead. I'm going to experience new things that are just thrown at me.
Yeah, what miracle is going to show up for me today?
Terrific idea. Yes, think about that. Miracles that
Yeah.
are going to show up for you.
Every day, you know, and it just puts you in that state of curiosity rather than, you know, sadness or depression or, gosh, you know, I'm stuck here. Well, you know what, I'm
Yes.
stuck here. What can I think about that's creative? You know,
Right.
I'm in traffic. I can't do anything about it.
Right.
Rather than getting mad, I have another choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, this has been so incredibly informative today and so
glad.
much fun as well. It's been a
this
very
has been fun.
intentional morning.
Yes.
So, Nancy, can you let our viewers and listeners know where they can find you for more information?
Yes, our website is newparadigmadvisors.com. You can go on there, and I am on there. You can click on there and go to my LinkedIn page and read more about my experience, where I've come from, and then learn more about the opportunities we have for adding value to companies and individuals.
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being with us today.
Claire.
And thank you to our listeners and our viewers here for Coffee with Claire. We love our loyal fans. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Coffee with Claire. To learn more about today's guests, visit their website or find them on Facebook. To learn more about me, Claire Billingsley, follow me on LinkedIn or visit my website at coffeewithclaire.tv. And to hear more episodes of Coffee with Claire, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast and social media platforms.